Welcome to Tier 3 MRC coming at you live from the Jeddah Cornish circuit. This circuit has 27 corners, the most on the calendar, and is the second longest, only second to Spa. But with 27 corners, 3/4 of the lap will be taken at full throttle for this high-speed joyride, so it's sure to be a thrilling race. You've also got to take into account that in real life, and probably in MRC as well, this has a 100% record of safety cars around here. So having your strategy on point, as well as being the quickest car, will be key to that, because any small mistake can be punished. And joining me tonight, we've got a man who knows all about how to do the best in Tier 3. It's our last year's Tier 3 champion. It's Connor Hardy. Connie, how are you today?
Hello, back-to-back weeks I'm on Tier 3. It starts to feel rather strange now.
It's nice to have you with us.
It is great to be watching a bit. Last week's race was truly sensational in this tier, so it's definitely going to not disappoint, that is for sure.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We've got first man out on the pits is Night Shadow on the wets in the McLaren, so fingers crossed he gets out of the way whilst everybody gets ready to start their quick lap. I'm going to stay on board with Donny, who is on his outlap and just about ready to... Oh no, sorry, he is weaving his way around the first section. This track sometimes is a little bit tricky to... It's still new to me. I'm still learning all the corners. No corner names, just numbers, which makes it nice and easy for us tonight. How did you go around here? How do you think of the circuit as a whole?
I love the track as a whole. When you nail a lap, I don't think there's many on the calendar that feel better because it's just so on the limit every lap, isn't it? I think that's the fairest way to put it. I mean, I got a point. Make of that what you will. But yeah,
that's good. I think coming out of here, it is as I mentioned up top, safety cars around here are going to be a thing, and sometimes it's just you got to switch your head. You've got to have two modes, haven't you? One where you're racing for pace, and others when you're racing for survival. You've got to know when to do one or the other around here. I'm going to stick on board with Donny, who's just coming round the last corner. I'm going to take away all of those little overhead displays, and we will stick on board for one very fast lap of this Jeddah circuit. DRS will be wide open here as he goes across the start-finish line. Right, you're looking out on the right here. It's all about markers. He brakes at the 100, goes in a little deep. You go left, right. So be very careful when you apply the throttle out of that second corner, because you can lose the rear end if you're not careful. Into 4. Now this section through 4 and 10, it is so technical. I've compared it once before to the S's in Suzuka. You're always just on the brink of the throttle. You don't want to go too much. You don't want to go too hard as he rides the curve there. And he's missed that apex. It's compromised him entirely. And it's desynced his lap. So unfortunately, we're going to have to go on board with somebody else. Let's see who's going on a fast lap. We've got the Mercedes. We've got Mercedes of Arcane, I think, who's just about to start his fast lap. New driver, of course, to MRC, so I hope this doesn't put too much pressure on him, but we'll see what he's got. And once before, like I said, we'll go into this sector 4 and 10. This is all about making sure you've got control over the throttle and your gears. You've just got to ride these curves, so don't make sure you get too far over them. And look, he's got a much better line through there, hugs that, and then it's all about getting on the power straight as possible. There we are. Now you're going down quickly into turn number 11. All about carrying as much speed as you can through here. You want to take it tight on the apex and get it out as far wide as possible. Now into this right-left section, can be hard to pick your braking foot. I usually brake as soon as my tyre hits that curbing on the left, and that's what he's done as well. Then you're into another section of corners. This is, of course, the second DRS zone on the circuit, if you count the start-finish straight as the first one. What you're looking for is the brake markers there, and this corner is going to be so key for drivers tonight. If you slow down too much, you can compromise and you lose so much speed. It seems to have carried quite a lot through there. Now we're heading down to the last corner on the track, 27. This is where your lap can be made or break. You've got to hook it in there, and it's all about getting on the power as quick as possible. He's done that really well. Hooked it up. He's going to be across the line. You're looking there, he's going to keep to the left-hand side. It's going to be over the line with a 129.892. I tell you what, that's not too shabby at all. That's put him up into P2, down to only DRS Julian beating him at the moment on a set mediums. Excellent lap.
Yeah, that's an incredible lap on the mediums from Julian. I was watching it and wow, that was incredible. But no, good to see Arcana up there. He's one of the new drivers. DRS Neil also It's a brand new driver, and we've got a return of CLSTSPM. I said that so fast, I don't know how to say it, but yes. He's also returning, a former Tier 1 driver, but hasn't played the game before.
I think CLSDPM is a better way to say it, rather than me going Kulustapapum, which doesn't...
That's what I was going to do, funny enough.
Doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well, does that. I'm just going to stick on board, or at least we're going to stick on board with Scratch, who's on the outlap. Of course, Scratch taking the win last time out in Tier 3. He's the championship leader. And, I mean, I guess you know all about that, Connor. What's it like to lead a championship? Do the nerves start jangling yet, or does that come a little bit later into the season?
I think the first few races you sort of just sit there and it is what it is, because everything changes, especially at a track like Jeddah. Everything can change so quickly. All it takes is one touch of the wall or one misplacement of your car, and that's it, you know, that race is over. But I would say it's not even important to win every race, you just have to make sure you're scoring points every race. Yeah,
consistency, much like within the race itself, consistency on every race, making sure you're getting those points is how you win, because you'd be surprised how many, you know, if you a couple of do not starts or a couple of DNFs and suddenly wreck your championship hopes. So has to get out the way of Scratch. We'll be looking to get a good lap in.
He's looking good as Scratch. Melvin's also insanely quick. He's just gone fastest. So I feel like Melvin's one of the main guys this season in this tier for sure. I mean, he raced, I'm sure you saw his pace in Bahrain in Tier 2 when he reserved and was right up there with you guys, so...
Yeah, he was crazy. He's just been the victim of bad luck and the victim of me, Tier 2 Melvin. Very, very sorry. Just couldn't get my nose out of your backside and tapped you twice and around you went, so that's hands up fully on me. So yeah, he'll be looking.
I didn't even know that you did that, but no. I'm sure you saw him because of the fact that he was at the front. Is more what I meant by it, but yeah.
Yeah, no. He was. What I'm saying, he was very, very racy and deserved to be up there on merit. No luck involved there. Sorry, I should scratch going quite wide through that last section. The car really, as you said, it's on the limit, and you sort of hang on for dear life around here. One mistake can make make or break your lap as he comes into the final corner now. Set up quite nicely. Oh, he's so close to the barrier there, but he manages to keep it out. What's this first lap going to be? Is that DRS lap opens up? He's going to be across the line. It's going to be 7th place, 129.9. Look at the gap there between 3rd and 7th at the moment. Less
it's
than
crazy.
A 10th. It's absolutely mad. So yeah, expect those times to come down, but a very competitive Tier 3 as it stands.
Yeah, and I think one thing I'm sure you'll agree on as well is the later this track goes on in qualifying, like towards the end, the grip is insane.
Yes.
It feels like a totally different track almost, doesn't it? So
it is, and it's one where, when you were talking earlier about when you hook up a lap round here, it feels so good. It's all about confidence, this circuit, right?
Definitely.
Because if you've got no confidence, you're just going to be worried about the walls and, oh my goodness, where's my front wing going to go? But as soon as you've got it hooked up, it is a delight. I thought the first time I drove this, I would hate it because particularly, remember if you're watching this for the first time, you don't know how we work here at MRC, there is going to be no racing line for any of the drivers involved tonight. That assist is turned off. So picking up your braking points around this circuit, it's not somewhere like Spa or Monza where you've got these big landmarks around where you can sort of pick out the circuit. I can sometimes find myself getting lost. If I pause sort of mid-lap in practice and come back to it, I'll just miss my braking point so many times. So you've got to be on it from turn 1.
Yeah, your eyes are constantly on. The way I describe it is eyes are constantly on like beanstalks around here. Like you have to be aware at all times because otherwise you will just hit that wall.
It's,
and the precision has to be verging on perfect to get the most out of your lap time. You have to get so close to the walls without hitting them.
Yeah, which is why, I mean, we've said here it's, 3/4 full throttle. You might think that you want not that much drag, but particularly on this game, I think, in particular, the way it's set up and the way you really want to hug some of those corners and those apexes, you want a little bit front wing round here, or you're just not going to suffer, and you're going to particularly suffer during the race itself. Quali, you might set one good lap, but Mesa across the line there with a 1:34. I think he just had to pull out. I think he had a little bit of traffic there, so fingers crossed that Mesa can put in a better time next time round. I'm going to go on board with B17 and the Aston Martin this year.
Yeah, he's a man that's stepped up to no assist, that guy, Mr. B17, so Good luck to him.
That's very impressive. It's always a bit of a learning curve, and yeah, just make sure you're getting the rewards out of it. And the one thing I'd say, the worst thing you can do is kind of like switch mid-race or go for it. I've had some people who've been like, oh, I'm low traction control, no, I'm medium, I'm not sure. Stick with it. Make sure you get used to the way that you're driving. If you can do that and get that consistency, that's what you're going to need. So yeah, excellent work there. We all know how fast he was last season.
There's no better time to do it than at the start of a new game as well, because that means you've learnt it that way, and that is it. You can't play the game another way then, can you? So
precisely, yeah. Because I mean, we were mentioning before, like differences between the game. You found this game quite different, and I have as well. It sort of suits my driving style. You're struggling with it. You want to make sure that you keep on this game and consistent and get used to the physics. And like you say, if you're getting rid of something like as crucial as ABS or whatever, or taking that assist away, you want to know how that game feels right from the start, or otherwise you're going to develop bad habits. DRS Julian across the line there, got 28.5.
That was pole in Tier 2, wasn't it?
It was. That is absolutely insane. He was pole on the mediums, but when he puts a pair of softs on, even more impressive. So
wow, Julian setting up an early statement for the guys here. Mutts Nuts are very impressive though, 29.2 for his, I think that's his first lap of the session, so...
Yeah, it is, and I believe Mutts Nuts had a very good result last time out. Yeah, he's currently sitting in 5th in the championship, so he's one to look out for. DRS Julian did not finish in Bahrain, so yeah, he's going to want to put that pace to good use and make sure that he can get some points on the board this time out. B17 across the line with a 130.6, 11th place still for the Aston Martin driver. A lot of drivers in the pits now. You're just sort of waiting for the last bit of this session. I'm going to stick on board with Scottish Ninja, who's up 0.6 seconds on his fastest lap so far, so fingers crossed that'll see him jump quite a way up the grid if he can just keep this going across the line with a 130.29 P9.
Yeah, good luck from him. He's a man that we also know has an awful lot of pace. He's one of the unluckiest drivers as well, like, especially watching X. I've seen him get some terrible luck, but he's also made that step up this season, and hopefully he puts it to good use.
Yes. Sticking on board with RFC Danny at the moment, the McLaren man, currently in P20. I don't think he's been able to get a successful time on the board yet, but Game was saying he went purple in Sector 1. I don't always agree with purple sectors in this game. Maybe it might be
I got 3 purple sectors on Monday and qualified 19th, so...
Yeah, a personal purple, as it is, but let's see how he goes.
I was like, oh my god, I'm going to be on pole. No. The dream slashed as I crossed the line, brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, B17's out. I don't know what's happened there. It's gone at an odd place just at the end. Seems at 27 there's a yellow flag, so fingers crossed there isn't too much traffic, and at the end there they've cleared that, so yeah, it's not going to affect the McLaren's lap, which is good. Oh, you see just how close they get to that last wall. Every time my heart's in my mouth as I think they're going to clatter into that sidewall just like Max Verstappen did back in 2021, but it's up into 4th place for RFC Danny. Excellent there for your first lap. He'll have to dash if he wants to get another one in back to the pits, because we are going to start to see drivers trickle out and trying to put one last lap on the board now. And as you said before, this track really rubbers in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. Fabian's in YouTube chat asking why you like cricket. Why do you like cricket?
Why do I like cricket as a Brit in general, or just myself? You know, because I'm a freak, because I like boring sports, F1 being one of them. Oh, shots fired. Pow, pow, pow.
That is boring this season. I agree with you on that one. But we've just offended every Dutch person in the league, but they'll get over it, I'm sure.
Hey, the Dutch are very good at cricket as well. I've seen some good matches of cricket between the English and the Dutch.
They really are.
The best. Sorry, if you want my real answer about cricket, I will just very quickly fill you in. It's a good excuse, right? If you go to a one-day game, it is like 8 hours out of the house in the sun where you can just drink with your mates, right? In football, you've got like a 2-hour period to drink. Imagine extending that.
You can't even drink in that 2-hour period.
Precisely,
you can't drink in the seats.
You can't drink in the seats. In cricket, they just allow you to do it. It's chill. It's my way of vegging out. So, yeah.
I think that's a fair assumption to make.
Sorry, go on.
Fabian said he didn't know there was a Dutch cricket team. Oh, Daddy's just hit the Verstappen wall.
Oh, goodness me, where's he?
Final corner.
Final corner.
He's just come at the pits.
Oh, that's it. He was on his in-lap, wasn't he? He's desperate to try and get in and get a fresh pair of boots on.
Whoa, that was... He's lucky he didn't lose a wheel. But Donny's just gone up to P5.
Oh, that's an excellent lap from Donny. He's getting it in early, but now we're going to see our other contenders. I've got DRS Julian on the screen here because I want to see what sort of laps this man is putting in. We've missed the other two.
Yeah, Simba just said, Julian said earlier he loves this track. And I mean, I think with that time, I can see why.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's going to be incredible. I'm going to go watch Bat Mazo because he's a man that doesn't seem to have got a clean lap in yet. So, as I say that, he's just jumped a place, 32-0.
2-0, not bad. I think it is one of these circuits where people will either say they love it or hate it, and it's a closed...
It's Marmite, this track, isn't it? It literally is. Yeah, I agree.
Just on board. By the way, this game looks good, doesn't it? I don't know if it's just my PS5 or this year, but they've cranked the graphics up a little bit, and under the night sky, I do think it looks excellent.
I like this, it's a very niche update, but I like the fact they show the team next to the driver's name now.
Yeah.
The reason being, because when you saw the Williams and the Alpine on the minimap, you never knew which one it was. So now you do.
You see, he is, I'm just going to check. DRS is one of the only ones. He's the first one who's on his outlap, on a quick lap. So I'm going to turn all the graphics up and then we can see the times as they trickle in. This is your sort of TV up engine sounds. Just drink it in as he challenges this lap. But he's messed up, hasn't he? He's completely backed off. I was hoping for a spectacle, and no, he thinks that he's got enough, or it's going to have to be enough. Because he hasn't quite put that lap together. So I'm going to stick on board with the next best thing, Mutz Nuts, who's in P3.
He's 6/10 up.
Wow, that is
no, he's not actually. He's
invalidated!
Oh, I tell you something, I was watching Arcana as well. He's 5/10 up apparently, but he was being hugely blocked, and now he's just come in the pits himself. So
that's a shame. I'm trying to find somebody on a quick lap here.
SDS, I think, is just starting a lap. He's just going to build up to it. He's a man with a lot of pace that we've seen early on as well. So
stick on board. Yeah. As you said, we're coming back from Tier 1, didn't you say? So he's had pace in the past.
Yeah, he's been out a few seasons. I don't think he's even touched the game in those few seasons. So I think it's fair enough to put him straight into Tier 3 to let him find his bearings a little bit.
Yeah, and currently at P9, he'll be wanting to get a little bit more out of this lap. Let's just keep an eye on the top right of the screen there, where you'll see the first split. Is he up or down? As we said, this track does rubber in. He's up 0.115, so that's enough, but it might be enough. He would jump up to about P6 with that, so there's still a lot more in this lap, and you can see just how much he's pushing as those wheels go so close to the wall there. Takes it nice and wide there, but bangs the apex in. And carry on down to this section, which frustrates me. They say 27 corners around this circuit. This wiggly bit is just flat out, no problem. It's here where you have to brake and nail it. Purple sector up half a second. He's up half a second. That's going to put him up into 5th place. Another 2/10, and that'll put him up into 4th. Maybe another half a second if he can find it. And he'll be up on the front row. Can he compete here? Era Voice up into P2 on the mediums in the Williams. Excellent. From the Tier 2 man.
But here comes Melvin. He's actually up. He's also a man that's just coming across around the final corner now. So
wow, look at Melvin. That from the Red Bull man. Up into P2.
Wow, into P2. And Melvin's just got into P3. It's a 2-3 for Red Bull.
Amazing from there. The Red Bull's just pulling it out at the last minute. I didn't think there was sort of like another half second in there, but he found it, and Christian Horner will be incredibly happy with the performance from them. I think that's going to be our qualifying done, as Ghost Rider will be the last man out in the session as that Alpine pops back into the garage.
Wow, what a qualifying that was to finish. So I think that's shaped up now for a very interesting race. The grid is set. I'm impressed by Abanash as well, the Tier 4 champion. He's also running no assists. Managed to just finish outside the top 10 in qualifying there, so...
Yeah, well done from everyone there. So let's quickly take you down the grid as it stands for the Jeddah race. It'll be kicking off very soon. DRS Julian is on pole. Then a lap from the South African CLSD SPM in the Red Bull, pulling out of the bag right at the last minute to be second. Then on the next row, we've got all Dutch second row with Melvin and Era Voice. And it's Boothie in fifth. Didn't focus on him much, but that's an excellent performance there from this Ferrari driver. Mutz Nuts in sixth. RFC Danny in the McLaren in seventh. Scratch, winner of our first race, down in eighth. Maybe he'll be hoping to battle his way up the field a little bit more. Avanash in ninth. Donny in 10th. Arcano in his first appearance in 11th there. Geke Matthew 12th. Scottish Ninja 13th. B 17th, 14th. CB Sambao 15th, Fanning 16th, DRS Neil 17th, back Mazo 18th, Night Shadow and Ghost Rider did not set a time, so they will start at the back of the grid. Who do you fancy for this race then, Connor?
I mean, it's hard to look past Julian, but at the same time, I don't want to be boring. I think I'm going to look... Actually, I need to see the actual grid again, because I've now lost the... obviously, timings and stuff. I'm not going to say Error Voice, because I know he won tier 2, but... We're not gonna talk about Error Voice here because I know he's watching as well. So if I'm nice to him, he'll start to think that I'm his friend and everything, and that's not.
Oh, you don't want that? No, you want pure rivalries and hate, please. Yeah.
I'm joking. I love the Error Voice, but yeah, I'm gonna go Julian. Obviously, his pace was crazy, but I think CLS. Yeah, that guy. He's going to be right at the front as well, pushing him. And Melbourne, obviously, you can't rule out his pace has been, as I said all season, insane so far. So
yeah, I wonder.
I think it's going to be a big fight.
Yeah, I think it is hard to look past our pole sitter DRS at the moment. But those two Red Bulls, not only will they maybe be working together a little bit, but Melvin has the help of Era Voice. So obviously he's tier 2, that fellow Dutchie as well, wanting to, help a friend up the grid as well. He can do a job tonight, and let's see. It's very interesting what we've got in terms of tyre choice for tonight.
A very big mix is what we've got, to be completely honest.
Yeah, we've got DRS on the mediums, two Red Bulls starting aggressively, both on the softs, Era Voices on the mediums. It's sort of a mixture of soft and mediums until you're down into 11th place with Arcana starting on the hards. And the only other hard riders we've got is DRS Neil and Ghost Rider at the end. You can take the hards quite far. I think I took the hard 17 laps on Monday, so they will go the distance, but they will start feeling rotten after about 14. And that was with a lot of laps under safety car as well. So
yeah.
Mix of strategies around here. I think the soft runners aren't doing a bad thing. If there is an early safety car, you can get off those softs swiftly and onto a pair of hards and not have to pit again, because I think it's harder to pass around here than you think.
It really is. I think turn 1's obviously your best opportunity because you've got a huge braking zone into turn 1 as well. But the issue around this track, I noticed, is as soon as one DRS zone is over, you've pretty much got another one other than on the exit of turn 1. So
yeah, precisely. You can get somebody on the last corner 27 there, and they'll just get you back turn 1. So maybe those are the little less drag. We'll find overtaking easier around here tonight. As I said, as I'll probably mention throughout the race, if we get a safety car or two, which we have had in previous tiers, and just so you're aware, that change to safety cars won't be coming in until the next round of races in Australia, where we will put them down to reduce. This game does like putting out a safety car for somebody just sort of like losing a bit of front wing and not actually retiring from the race. So fingers crossed they can keep it clean.
Whereas, I think in Bahrain in tier 2, I think we had 2, maybe 1 DNF and 5 safety cars. I was like, brilliant.
Yeah,
lovely. And then we had 6, I think it was on Monday, didn't we? So
yeah, it was not the most fun on Monday night, but fingers crossed we can get a lot of racing in tonight as I just focus on Ghost Rider there, the last driver, into his grid slot as he parks up. Go back to DRS Julian at the front. You see those red lights come on. 3, 4, 5. Hold. Got the little glitch where they hold for a little bit longer. They'll go when they decide to go, and they're away. DRS Julian there seems to get a good start there. Look at them spread out. You're going 3-4 wide at the back. You're going to be so careful as you go into the first corner. And there's already a little bit of contact. Yeah, Era Voice is round as well.
Yeah, they made contact, big contact.
Melvin and CL, the two Red Bulls get through there cleanly though, so that's just what they wanted. Boothie up into 4th, RFC Danny up into 5th, so really good start from them, as we said. Let's just go to...
Oh, B17's round.
The position changes. Oh, B17, that's such a shame. He's having an okay qualifying. I know he lost it in the early part. But now we're back to racing. That's the position changes you can see on the left-hand side of your screen there. Donny up 4 places. Night Shadow up 9, up from the last position. He is up into 10th, so he's an absolute stonking start. Ghost Rider up 7. Our big losers, unfortunately, are Scratch down 6, Mutts Nuts, Error Voice down 10 and 13th respectively. Then Geke, Matthew, Neil and B17 all getting caught up in a little bit of something, which means that they are struggling at the back of the pack. Let's put the tyres back on for you and see where the main battles are on track. It says there's a gap of nothing to Melbourne, which is frustrating because that's not true. I'm going to go on board with this train that's all the way from Avonef to Donny. Akana is going for the move. Look there, you've got the Mercedes, man. He's thinking about the move on the Williams, and is he going to do it on the harder tyres? Contact!
Oh, and Abadash just hit the wall next to him.
Yeah, they were scrapping away, and he's just been compromised. He's so quick. Look at them. They're going to go 3 wide down into turn 1 almost.
Oh, no.
Don't do it, boys. You can't do it. You can't do it. What's going to happen here? I'm on board with the McLaren. They can. Just through goes the Ferrari. Then it's the Mercedes, followed by the McLaren. Excellent move from everybody there. We've got maybe a little bit of a glitch. It's saying that RFC Danny is 1 minute 37 away from somebody else.
That a lot. It will sort itself out.
Excellent Codemasters. Thank you ever so much. I'm going to stick on board with... and stick on board with Johnny Goss. There's a very racy looking Ferrari there as they have to take avoiding action over that curve. You didn't see too many track invalidations on Monday, to my memory, but you can do it if you just push particularly a little bit too much through that first sector.
Yeah, you definitely can. Yeah. Scottish Ninja's just passed Gav as well, but he's gone off track, so he may have to concede the position to Gav. He's given it back.
Yes, he does. Gav starting on the softs there, and he's absolutely wasting no time moving up through the field. That's another position. He's got the other McLaren ahead of him, sorry, the other Mercedes ahead of him, of course. Gav, a huge Mercedes fan, so he'll be so happy to be in his absolutely, god tier car. Lewis Hamilton through and through. Johnny all over the back of the McLaren now of RFC. Danny is fighting his way past. It's all about who might want to use a bit of DRS. Oh goodness me, yeah, you can just see them side by side in the background. It's Donny through on the McLaren. It's Night Shadow, where is he? There's 3 cars side by side. Once again, the McLaren determined to get in between them all, and yes, he turns himself into a Mercedes sandwich as he's up into 8th place.
Those hards haven't heated up yet, I don't think, or got into the right window for Arcana yet. That's why he's dropped a few places. But he's now right on the back of Ninja because Ninja's just made a big mistake out of 3.
He's looked a little bit scrappy, Ninja, hasn't he? He lost that place to Donny, actually, and I think he was sort of fighting back for a mistake when he found himself in that battle with the other Mercedes. His tyres will start to go off. What we said, just looking at front, I know we're not focusing on the battle, but look at that gap up the top there. DRS Julian, over a second ahead of Red Bull, and then the next Red Bull another second behind, and he's on the medium tyre as well, so even those on the soft can't catch up with him now. He's doing his best Max Verstappen impression, and also hats off to everybody, 3 laps in, no safety cars yet, so looking fairly clean.
I'm not allowed to say the famous SC word because every time I say it, one comes. So, but I think those guys that started on softs have probably banked on an early safety car here, so they'll be praying over the next few laps that one comes out.
They will be. Going to stick on board with Scottish Ninja. He's looking a bit racy, but of course now you've got the DRS is in effect, and these trains will start to appear as Avanash seems to be not being a bit dodgy. I don't know if that connection or he just lost the back end there. It was all over the place. They seem a lot more well behaved, don't they? We've got Era Voice at the back making up places on CV Sandbar. He's up to 13th, and Ninja's gone very deep into the first corner there. It's going to compromise his exit. Is that something that Arcana in a Mercedes can take advantage of? He goes for a little look at the inside, thinks better of it, and they will stay in ninth. But yeah, Saucy Ninja doesn't seem to have it quite hooked up through the first sector like Arcana does. If you've got a very...
He's just hit the curb and it sent him straight on.
He has. It's such a shame, and you lose so much speed and momentum through there. Ghost Rider will be able to back him. I think he'll keep the place. The important thing for him now, maybe spends a little bit of that ERS and he doesn't fall too far behind. I'm going to stick on board with Gav though. Oh, safety car. Safety car, safety car. Don't know what's happened there. Is it Mutt's Nuts?
I'm presuming that's for Mutt's Nuts at the back. Yeah, well, he hasn't got any visible damage, so if it is for Mutt's Nuts, I'm a tad concerned.
Yeah, that is.
It may be Bat Mazo. Yeah, Bat Mazo's got no front wing, that's who it's for.
Ah, that's it. So he's had a bit of a moment somewhere on the circuit, so he'll trundle back into the pits, get a fresh set of boots on, possibly hards, maybe can go to the end, but if you are at the back of the grid, you might want to go for something a little racier. Up the top now, I'm just going to stick up the top. Is anybody at the front of the field going to blink first? Any of these soft runners going to say now is the time to get off these softs? Or are they going to stick with them for now? It looks like, yes, both Red Bulls, they're going to have to double stack here. And it might be a little bit compromising for Melbourne. Clearly they are not talking over the radio because Melbourne is going to lose out big time. Look at that. Look at all this time he's wasting just sitting behind his teammates. Seconds pass by. And as the Mercedes goes into the pit, are we going to see a couple of people jump positions? That was Night Shadow. And yeah, Night Shadow is going to come up out in front of the other Red Bull man. So, took advantage there. Quick pit stops. Scratch also going to come out in front of Melbourne. Era Voice pitted also out in front of Melbourne. So it's been a disastrous pit stop for the number 2 Red Bull man. Was up in third because his teammate decided to go in as well. Found himself right at the back of the pack in 16th place, 5 places behind his teammate.
Yeah, that's really close, Melbourne. Simba said you woke up this morning and chose violence. I'm presuming that's because you said Gav the Mercedes fan.
Well, he is. I think that's all just true. We can make that canon now.
He also loves David Coulthard as well.
He does. It's just a shame the two of them never met. Sort of never.
Aligned, yeah.
Yeah, you never saw David Coulthard in a Mercedes. You could say, David Coulthard, one of the classic Red Bull drivers, but as we all know, Gav hates Red Bull, so that wouldn't make sense whatsoever.
It would have been even better to see him in a French car, wouldn't it? Because you know what Gav and his affiliation with the French is like. So
yes, it would be. As this game is wont to do, I reckon we're going to have another lap behind the safety car, likes to give us a minimum of 2. So, moving on to a little bit of safety car chat. I just want to talk about the big difference that I found with this game in particular. Well, there's kind of 2, I think. One is in the handling model where the cars seem less on edge this year. Like under traction, I can feel it go. On F122, it just went without warning, which I think is a good change. Some have complained that that's made it a bit too easy to drive the car. But where I think the difficulty has really spiked this year is within the tyre wear and how quickly your tyres go off and how much your tyres and your car can change lap to lap. I'm finding that the difference between lap 1 and lap 10 on a set of mediums or a set of hards, you can really feel like the understeer in the car and having to brake early. Would you agree with that?
I think Bahrain, that became... I didn't notice it, I will be honest, I didn't notice it so much around Jeddah, but Bahrain I was noticing, because turn 1's a fairly early braking zone anyway, it's around about the 140 mark with Bahrain turn 1, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but by the time I got to about lap 6 or 7, I was braking verging on 200 metres for turn 1 just to make the corner.
Yeah.
So, it's a big tyre wear thing. Obviously we have had word of glitches about tyre wear and teams being equal and not equal, blah blah blah, whatever. Let's just throw that in a bit where and I'll see if we keep going anyway. But yeah, no, the tyre wear, I think the tyre wear is the main difference for me this game. Like, your car is just so different around every part of the track when you can really feel it. It's almost more realistic, I guess. Yeah,
which is why I think getting those practice laps in and getting used to race pace is so crucial this year. If you want to get laps in, if you want to get good quality practice, your 1 lap paces is great, and do feel how the car is going to feel on a fresh pair of softs in time trial. But also make sure that you drive those mediums 10 laps, drive those hards long, take those softs 8-10 laps and feel the difference in the car, adjust your braking point, because that's the knowledge you're going to want going into the races to make sure that you can survive certain corners and situations and know when to get off them, because you'll always have your lap time up in the top right hand corner. Your fastest lap might come up, but if you're running 1 second, 1.5 seconds slower after 7-8 laps, which can happen on the softs, they do fall off that quickly, then just keep it in the back of your mind that you might want to get a fresh pair of boots on.
Yeah, I think another thing is, like, I think obviously stewards over the last 2 races, 2 weekends, 2 race weeks I should say, have been busier than normal. I think you'll agree on that one. But I think a lot of it is also adjusting to the game and adjusting to how the tyre wear affects your car, and I think that's throwing a lot of people off. So that's why the actual official practice sessions that we hold in MRC have become probably 100 times more useful now.
Yes, I don't know if we had a slight issue. I saw Scottish Ninja going quite slowly on the stream. I don't know if there's a slight desync or something's happened, but they are going to take us round for another lap under the safety car because the field was not bunched up enough. So if you're listening, please make sure you keep that distance to the cars ahead and that we can get racing again around here as well. One thing I've found for practice, and this is just me and the insane way that I decided to play this game, we were talking earlier about how, you want to get used to the physics of your car as quickly as possible. I, like an idiot, started career mode and I started it in F2, right? Which is...
That's a bit of an issue there, Mr.
No, the cars feel completely different. However, one thing that I'm going to say is going to come into my advantage, right, I think is quite useful, is in F2 you do a sprint race and a feature race. In that sprint race, it's no pit stops, they put you on the hardest tyre, but by the end of that race, your tyre wear is running at about 50-60%, and boy does that car feel so much different from the car you got on map 1. So it is kind of a crash course in how to take tyres long, how to adjust on the fly, where you want to adjust those braking distances, because you're doing it in a slower car that kind of turns a bit more like a tank. If you can do it in an F2 car, you can definitely deal with understeer in an F1 car that tends to be a lot more responsive. So, might not be the best one for getting the physics exactly right, but just for learning how to do things on the fly, it isn't bad at all. Fanning has left the session, unfortunately. He's in 5th place, he's a spooky ghost, so fingers crossed he can get back into the session and back racing. It is the worst thing, suddenly losing your connection when you are in the middle of a safety car like this, because you know you might be in danger of getting swamped. Fingers crossed we are going to see that message that tells us that the safety car is going to be in this lap. I'm going to sit on board with DRS Julian, who is right up the backside of that Aston Martin, encouraging it to hurry up and going to move on as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
There it is.
Hey, safety car's in, so this is it now for these guys. This has really hurt Julian as well, by the way, this safety car, with his strategy.
Oh yeah, because it's got, how many rows have you got? It's all the way down to 10th. Those top 10 have not pit, and then everybody from P11 down has pit. So he's going to want to pull out if there's no other safety cars, he's going to want to pull out a gap on these mediums that's at least a pit stop if he wants to make it work. Or he might just be happy.
Super early.
He has, yeah. That is enough. The safety car is in.
He didn't catch Boofy nothing at all, but Boofy's now under a bit of pressure. Look at Donny, right behind him.
He's going to go and move round the outside. Is he
Boofy's got on the inside, there's contact!
Blimey.
Between him and Julian.
That is just, there seems to be a huge gap between them, and out of nowhere there's been contact, so we might see that back in the stewards. But it's worked in the favour of the Ferraris, not for Boofy though, because it's Avinash, South African, our former Tier 4 champion, and driver up into P1, so all of a sudden he finds himself in first place.
5 seconds.
He's got 5 seconds for ignoring a yellow flag. We might have to look at that back in the stewards room as well.
That is probably due to taking the lead after the contact between Julian and Boofy, so I think that one may be removed, but there's a virtual safety car.
Yeah, Mutt's nuts as DNF. We can't see it in the background, but he seems to be crawling to a stop rather than be stuck on track, so not quite sure what's happened there, unless he's got a big DSQ. Well, they're never going to come up as DSQ, so no idea what's happened there. So we'll stick on board with the virtual for now. The big loser at the start of that, unfortunately, was DRS Julian, who finds himself back in ninth. Talking about him trying to make a gap to CLS, he hasn't. Now CLS is nearly a second behind him, so yeah, really unfortunate for the Alfa Romeo driver tonight. Didn't deserve that. It was that safety car restart.
Yeah, I think it's probably one we are going to see the stewards, so we shall see. But I hope it all gets. It's all going to play out. I'm glad this was a virtual safety car, because I think another safety car would have been really hurtful for. Well, it wouldn't have actually, because it could have given the top 10 the opportunity to pit, and everyone would have been in the same sort of position there.
It is, and DRS has taken this opportunity to pit, so don't know if that's exactly the wrong time, because the green flags have just come out, so it's not going to save him any time, so he's going to have an absolutely monster effort from the back of the field. Boothie in third, remember, those 8-lap-old softs, we were talking in the break about how different those tyres feel after 8 laps, particularly those softs. Maybe that came into it a little bit on that safety car restart, cold tyres, thinking your braking point was at one place and just finding that actually, in fact, it's now about 50 metres earlier than you thought, because Fanning is all over the back of those two as they hair around that first of these back corners.
Boothie has, but he's not been able to make it stick, and now Fanning goes through as well, so now he's right at the back of Donny.
Yeah, that was Boothie just got off the racing line there, I feel, and it just put him in exactly the wrong position. Look at this huge train of cars all the way back from Donny. Now Kana looking racy as well. Where are they? It's so difficult to keep track of them on this camera view.
It is, isn't it?
Hair through. I think this is the moment that Fanning's going to have to take if he wants to do it. 27 is such a good passing opportunity.
It really is, and obviously there's no DRS at the moment, so he actually has the opportunity to keep it if he made the overtake now. But Boothie's gone up the inside of Fanning, but he backs out. Now there's contact between Arcana and Boothie.
Yeah, Boothie taking the tight inside line there. Arcana taking the outside. Now it's going to be a complete drag race. So look at these two. Look there, there's the Ferrari's on the inside. He's still there. He's still there. You have to give the space. You have to give the space. And oh, it's fine. He's gone quite deep there. He's just going to cut the corner. It's going to compromise him though, and I think it's going to mean.
Had a moment.
Yeah, he just went too deep into 1 and 2, and he did the right thing. He let those cars pass, and that means Ghost Rider's up into P4. Boothie's up into P5.
Yeah, Ghost Rider though, what a start from him to this race. He is now up 16 places. Yeah,
of course, I think he failed to set a time, so or was very slow at the back, so yeah, so we didn't really know his pace, but he seems to be proving himself now on those hard tyres. And remember, I'd rather be on 9-lap-old hards right now than 9-lap-old mediums or softs, because they will be feeling just a little bit better as these trains are really starting to build now. These safety cars bunched up the field. The virtual safety car has done much the same, so it is all to play for. I think DRS will be available next lap, so now's the time to spend your ERS if you want to. I'm on board with maybe the net race leader at the moment, CLS PPN. He was the one who took that early pit stop. Look at that over to view, and he's got the better exit on Boothie. Is he going to try it even before lap 27? You've got to leave the space there, the Ferrari, and they do, and he's already side by side. He's going to be aiming for that gap, but no, he gets back into single file there. But DRS is available now, because you can see those flaps open on the Mercedes, on the Red Bull there.
Yeah, we definitely can. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out now, because Gab's just passed SDSPM as well.
He has. Look at these ahead of the ball.
Contact!
It was a huge moment. I don't know who it was. It looked like somebody in the AlphaTauri scratch. You could see his pace difference. Everybody else was taking that usual speed, and he just went for the apex, and he was never slowing down there, I'm afraid, and that has brought out yet another virtual safety car. Not what DRS Julian wanted to hear. He wants a full safety car to catch up to the back of this field. He's already 10, 17 seconds off the rest of them at the top. I wonder what you're going to do 10 laps in. You're on softs or mediums. Is now the time to pit and put on a pair of hards?
I would, if they can all get to the pit lane entry by the time the virtual safety car is still out, then it could be an opportunity to take the free pit stop for the guy, especially for Boothie. That could really benefit him.
Yeah. trying to think who was caught up in that shuttle. I thought it was the Red Bull man, CSDL, but it wasn't. It was the Mercedes, I think, of Night Shadow. Just made an excellent move up into 7th place, and we've green already, so that virtual safety car over very quickly. And I wonder if CSL has got a bit of a run on the Ferrari. You can keep a lot of people sleeping if they're not careful. Ferrari's defending for his life. He's gone off track there, though. I wonder if that will be another mark against his copybook with the stewards there. They go side by side into the last lap, into the last corner, lap 27. Sorry, corner 27. And yeah, he's going to make the move even before the corner. I think Uthi is right not to fight that too hard. Those softs will be feeling absolutely rotten right now as we go Williams into the pits. Yeah.
Yeah. Fanning was under a bit of pressure from him, and now all of a sudden our canners all over the back of Fanning. So I think those softs are starting to go off for Fanning, and maybe those hards are starting to work quite well for our canner now. And
yeah.
Ghost Rider.
I think the difference between 11-up-old hards and 11-up-old softs is going to really tell on track, and I kind of wants. He wants those soft runners to go in, or soft and medium runners to go in for a pit stop, and then for there to be a safety car in about 2 or 3 laps time, so he can go a little bit longer, can stretch them out to 15 quite easily, maybe even 17, but they will feel quite rotten. I feel it's still very close. I'm going to stick a ball with Era Voice and Scottish Ninja, because Era Voice, of course, will not have any DRS. Scottish Ninja will.
Yeah, Era Voice just snuck through past Ninja just before that little section. Melbourne's starting to make a bit few inroads now as well. Obviously, he had that really costly pit stop at the start, and now he put the hards on, and I think you're probably going to see Melbourne try and go to the end. So, at the minute, I believe he's in a net P2. So,
yes.
At the minute, based off pit stops, he's actually it's a Red Bull 1-2.
This is not bad, and look, Scottish Ninja's got a slightly wide out of that corner, and it's compromised him so much as we see the Red Bull go through, and it's going to be Gav, actually, who I think is going to size up his chances on that orange McLaren. He's going to go on the inside line, but that's sweeping round there, cuts off the angle. That's worked very well for Scottish Ninja, who keeps 10th place, but he's going to dash into the pits now. And so it'll be Night Shadow versus Melvin as we hop down into turn 1.
He's into the pits. So he put on the mediums. Scottish Ninjas also, like you said, in the pits.
Oh, there's an accident there. What's happened there? There's a Red Bull round.
Is that? It's CSDSP, that guy.
Yeah, and a McLaren round, Arcana. I don't know if the two of them came together or one was trying to avoid the other, but that was the man who was saying was sort of in the net lead of the race. He's lost it down into ninth. That means our net race leader at the moment is the Tier 2 man, the one who won on Monday night. Hear a voice.
Yeah. Obviously, it will go to Melbourne with his demotion, but it's a Dutch 1-2 at the minute, which means Nick de Vries is currently beating Verstappen.
Sorry, I stuck on board there with DRS Julian. We know how quick this man is, and he'll be driving with a certain fire in his belly after what happened to him at turn 1. He just went past his teammate. Now 6 seconds the gap up to the next Mercedes at the road. Remember, he doesn't have to pit again. There's a couple of cars that will. And even though it's not where he'd want to be, he'd want to be up the front. It's probably where he deserves to be. He is eating into all the other cars around him. This boy is quick. So going back up the top of the field, we've got Avinash and Fanning as well. They seem to be going at it, Hammer and Tom, but it's Avinash who's back into that position. We've got Ghost Rider and DRS Neil as Fanning finally makes the decision to come in. DRS Neil says, I have to stay out, I'm on the hard tyres, this is my strategy, and he goes past pretty well there on Ghost Rider, makes it nice and simple before turn 1. Goes a little bit deep though. You've got to remember how powerful DRS and DRS in this game. If you use them both together, you have to brake a hell of a lot earlier, and unfortunately, that's brought up a 3-second time penalty, and I think it's the same for Avinash. Let's just go and see the penalty. Oh no, Avinash has that 5-second time penalty from earlier on in the game. With a lot of people coming in for their pit stops as well now.
Yeah, a lot of them really are, aren't they?
The field is starting to just even out now to where it should be. Fanning's going to be happy where he's come out in P7, so on the mediums he's 11 seconds behind the runners of Melbourne and Night Shadow, who of course I don't think will want to pit again. I'm going to stick on board here with Melvin, who is all over the back of the Frenchman in the Alpine. And even though there is a DRS straight, I don't think this is the place to overtake. But is he going to try it? Yes, he does. And look, he just breezes past there. I don't know if there's a lot less wing or he's spending a bit of ERS, but that just seemed too easy for the Dutchman, and he's up into 4th place.
Yeah, it definitely does seem too easy for the Dutchman. He's absolutely flying out with Melbourne early on. So, let's see, Ghost Rider's also, he's a man that, DRS nil, very impressive. Oh, there's contact with the wall! I've just spoken about DRS nil, and I don't know which one of him and Avanash has just hit the wall and lost their wing. I think it is Avanash.
It's Avanash, he's into the pits, yeah, so he's had to make the emergency stop there. I was on board with DRS Julian, who has made it past Fanning. He is on such a charge right now. I saw him putting in purple sector after purple sector, and I wonder, across the line, yeah, that's another 132. And Siklas bowled hard. That is no mean feat. And he was in P1 after all these pit stops have filtered out. He finds himself 10 seconds behind the race leaders with 10 laps to go. He's going to have to take a second out of them if he wants to get anywhere up near this podium tonight.
Yeah, he definitely does. It's going to be a long race from here now for Avanash especially, and then you've got a few other drivers. But I tell you what, one man that you did point out, look at Julian. He's absolutely on it now. Yeah,
he is. He is. He's got his head down. He's in the game. He knows he's got the pace. I'm just going to stay on board this fight for the race lead. DRS Neil has not yet pitted, so Era Voice doesn't have to make this move, but I think he feels he does if he wants to get not held up by him any longer. And that was nice and easy up into P1 for our race winner on Monday. It's another P1 as it stands, but there's a long way to go in this race, and anything could happen. We've had one safety car, 2 virtual safety cars. Have we got another few on the cards?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I hope not, to be honest. I kind of want a race to the end now. If you're Julian, you'll be going, yes, I'm these. But I don't think he's going to get it his way, sadly.
No, but he is taking seconds and seconds. I said he'd have to take about, what was it, a second a lap out the race leader. That's a 132.6. Boothie going fastest there with 132.3 on a fresh set of mediums. So, yeah, he might be certainly got the pace tonight. Don't count him out. But that gap between him and Night Shadow coming down by more than a second a lap. So I think he will catch up into 4th place and potentially get a podium. But DRS Julian will want a better result after how quick he was. Arcana as well. He goes fastest now on the softs. DRS Julian is very wide there through the sector. He's being pushed along by Fanning and maybe pushed around a little bit too much. It's round for the Alfa Romeo driver, and he's down into 7th place, and he's lost his front wing as well. Brought out another safety car. Boy, not a good night if you don't want any stress, because, yeah, he'll be feeling that.
I'm going to stop talking about drivers, because I just did a whole speech on DRS, Julian, and now, yeah. But I tell you something, DRS Neil will be loving that.
Yeah.
Because he gets a free pit stop off those hards. He could maybe even get away with a set of softs here to the end. He could be one to watch.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what's the average pit stop time around here. Probably around about 20-25 seconds, but that will be, of course, reduced under the safety car because everyone will be slowed down. I reckon if he's lucky, he can come out, about P6, P7 on the road. And
yeah, the lead Error Voices come in as well. Melbourne's come in. Gab's in. So maybe everyone's just going to come in for a set of softs here.
Well, you can pit for a set of softs, but Fanning's not. Boothie shouldn't. If you're on mediums right now, I would stick out because they will very easily go to the end of this race.
Yeah, I agree. But now that's all made it. At least there's some sort of jeopardy here now as well, because Donny's also stayed out. He's gone for track position. He stayed out on the hards though, so he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck. Ghost Rider has stayed out. He's on the mediums, so this has mixed up the grid a lot.
It has. And we're going to see, again, these safety cars bunch up the field. It's a bit of a scrambled grid now. You've got fast drivers, the people who are on the front row of the grid. DRS Julian down in 14th, CLSDSPM down in 17th. He was pretty quick as well. Arcana was looking quick. All of these are in the bottom 10 of the field. They're going to want revenge. They're going to have to get racy and make some moves and probably spend quite a bit of their ERS on the opening 2 laps. if they want to try and get points tonight. For those up the front, though, for people like Fanning and Boothie, they just want to keep their nose clean. They want to make sure a nice DRS train forms behind them and that nobody can get past.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited now. We've got a shootout to the end around the streets of Jeddah. Like, we had this, I think, what was ours on Monday? Was it 5 laps, I think, actually? Shootout?
It was 5 laps. I was screaming in my car. I said it was 1 lap too long. I think if it had been 24 laps, it would have been okay. But my tyres just didn't quite last that long. And you might see that with the likes of those medium runners. It's not too much of a difference. They will go far. And where this game has got a lot better as well is under safety car conditions, your tyres don't wear nearly as much as they used to on previous games. The wear is close to 0. So you can eke a lot of life out of them.
Yeah, I've noticed on an outlap as well, like, I remember last game, if you did a slow outlap, you'd still use about 2 to 3% in your tyres. Whereas if you do one on this game, you might get 1% on one of your tyres, which is a lot better, because it means you have although maybe if you do a slow outlap, you're probably not going to have the heat you want for your lap, but
I think it's more realistic in that sense, isn't it? That it really is all about where you spend your tyres. And Fanning finally makes his way up to the back of that Aston Martin safety car. So we will probably get at least 1 more lap of this before the drivers are ready to go.
Yeah, the field's still very, very spread, isn't it? So it all comes down to these guys now, though. Let's just hope it stays nice and clean. I think Julian's obviously had his fair share of bad luck, but he's still looking very good for points. He's on the soft tyre. So let's see how this can go for him. Don't forget, he's got a lot of drivers around him that get demoted as well. Fanning, like out front, you've got Boothie, who's currently in a net lead. Neil and Donny are the current ones that are going to get on the podium because of obviously Fanning and Erebus's demotion. So
yeah, there's a lot of sort of races within races here, right? You're doing the maths with it's almost like MRCX when you try and do the difference between tier 1 and tier 2. Now I'm doing like
MRCX with the maths. I quit with that a long time ago. I leave that to the man doing results. But yeah, I think now we'll see very much how it's going to play out and just which tyres are going to last the best. I see a few of them are pit mediums on that pit stop, like Melbourne, so I wonder.
Yeah, I think the mediums you're just going to get consistent laps towards the end. If you've gone for the softs, then you'll make a lot of moves early on. The Boyce and DRS Neil will look to try and jump those medium runners up top as quick as possible, then hang on for dear life. Yeah, Melbourne's going to hope that consistency will mean that he'll come good just when it matters at the end. Just make sure I've got the gap to the leader, so I'm going to go back to the gap to the interval. Look, who's got the fastest lap? It's Carmen, finds himself back in 19th, so unfortunately he won't be taking any points home for that. Let's just check the penalty situation as well. So we've got Boothie on 3, DRS on 3, Scratch 5, RFC Danny 3, Scottish Ninja 3, Ambak Mazo on 3. In a situation like this, when you know that you've got very few laps at the end, you are cursing those penalties that you've got during the rest of the race, aren't you?
Yeah, I also didn't realise that Boothie and Neil had pens, so oh, my voice is going. But that actually hands the winner as it stands to Donny. So
yes, it does, doesn't it? So, gosh, Donny on the hards, isn't it? Yeah. So Donny has to sort of hope those hards last to the end. Also looking at the position changes just to see what a jumbled up sort of race has been. Fanning up 15 places. DRS Neil up 13, Ghost Rider up 13, Night Shadow up 11. Unfortunately, if you look at that, big losers so far. Melvin down 3, but like you say, it might be a little skewed given what else has happened in the race. And DRS Julian and CFCM down 12 and 14 places respectively. Effectively, they're the ones to look out for. Is the ones that can really battle their way through the field and put those drivers who haven't shown the same pace that they have under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, definitely, that is for sure. I mean, it's going to be interesting, obviously, like I said, just where these penalties are going to put people. Obviously, like you said, Melbourne got a bit skewed earlier by the whole safety car. No, not safety car. Yeah, where he cut under the safety car and obviously his teammate did. This feels very different to how it started, doesn't it?
It does, yep.
Let's get racing.
We've got racing, and we've got that message that says the safety car is going to be in this lap. Look at Fanning warming his tyres up. That number on the front of his car, 69. What could it mean? Historians have debated it for years, but I think the answer is lost to time. But 69, he's certainly feeling fine, and I wonder when he's going to start to go on this lap. Now he's gone, or he's gone already. He's gone. No, he hasn't. For a moment there is if he has, and no, now he goes.
No, yeah.
And it's him and Booty.
He'll be hoping to get past him and hoping Fanning can do the defensive job of his life after.
Booty thankfully not having a repeat of that other safety car start where he gets his braking point just right and he just seems to be very well behaved.
On Donny. Having a look round the outside of three, that is so brave.
Oh goodness me, that's an excellent move. You have to be side by side there so you can make it look. He's at the back. That's happened into 3 and 4 as well, isn't it? So it's clearly had a bit of a moment.
But wow, what a move that was from Melvin. So brave into 3. It's not normally an overtaking spot, but that was incredible.
Yeah, we were just saying how Donny was the net race leader. Now it's probably swung back in the favour of Melvin, who's got that move done nice and early. I'm on board with Era Voice at the moment in the Williams. He's on the softs, they're fresh, and he's behind the 7-lap-old mediums of Boothby. He's our winner on Monday night. He came from behind that night, taking the lead only on the last lap, 25 laps. Is he going to take the lead a little bit sooner this time round? He's eyeing it up. Remember, there is no DRS yet, so he won't have that advantage. But at the moment, it doesn't look like he needs it, as he's already alongside the Ferrari. And he is up across, and he's not going to do it. I wonder if DRS Neil is also going to make the move. He's been able to pass Era Voice, and he's gone very deep into that corner. That was 2 in 1. Excellent move there from the Haas driver, who's also on the softs. Excellent piece of driving that was. Oh!
So he's got a 3-second penalty, but his soft tyres could really help him create a gap here over the duration of 4 laps. So DRS Nil all of a sudden could be the new favourite.
There was. Scratch had a moment in the background. I saw him go into the wall, so that might compromise the rest of his race, unfortunately.
Yep, he's now got a Julian for company.
Julian as well.
Julian, like he's... Oh, Scratch going right everywhere. He surely has wing damage. Julian goes around the outside.
Yeah. Julian has picked up that's a 5-second penalty. We might have to see what that is later in the steward's room, but we won't be very happy with that. Ghost Rider behind Donny here, as those halves really quite aren't up to scratch at the moment. But Ghost Rider has to take a very wide line and doesn't get involved. Scottish Ninja and Avinash having to go. Look at him riding the wall there. Don't think he wanted to do that, and that means that B17 will fancy his chances. Scottish Ninja made the decision to stay on the hards, not looking too sensible now, as those softs behind B17 looks incredibly quick.
Yeah, you can tell that these guys are pushing because those penalties all of a sudden have gone up rather quickly for several drivers, so
yeah,
these guys are definitely pushing to their maximum.
Now is the time to push. You're probably not going to get another safety car towards the end of the game.
Oh, Neil's taking the lead.
He has, Fanning down into second place.
This is helping him like crazy. Because he's got now 2 Tier 2 drivers between him and Melbourne, and he needs a 3-second gap to Melbourne to win this race.
Yeah, Era Voice is going to make a move, though, on Fanning, who seems to let the Dutchman pass, wasn't fighting that one too hard. So it's down from P1 a couple of corners ago into P3 for Fanning. Melvin's going to have to get a move on if he wants to try and make up that gap on DRS Neil.
Yeah, he definitely is. Gav, fastest lap of the race. It's not going to benefit him in any way because he's down in P14. But what an impressive debut this has been from Neil.
It really has. Sort of came from nowhere. I wonder what was his position? Where was he?
I think he was P17 or something.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was P17, so he's up 16 places. So he's possibly pushing himself the driver of the day with this performance.
But yeah, Scratch is out. I think it's too late for a safety car. I think it probably is.
It is. I don't know if he's retired in the pits. It looks like that's where that blob is. So he's had enough. And like we said, Era Voice all over the back of DRS Neil now.
I think his tyres have gone, I think his tyres have gone because Melvin's now catching. So this is going to be insanely close.
Yeah, if his tyres are gone, then what's Era Voice thinking? Because they are on exactly the same set. Safety car!
Safety car!
Safety car now! You can't do this to us, game. Come on. Oh boy, that's going to
well, that's
really...
just tipped this entire race on its head, hasn't it?
So what are we going to have? Lap 22 going on to lap 23. Are we going to get 2 laps of racing? Are we going to get 1? DRS Julian, 5-second penalty there for cutting a corner. It came up on the screen.
Same with B17 as well.
Oh, goodness me. So DRS Julian, who we said was going so quickly, and he'd done the hard work again. He battled himself up to 6th. Kicked again with a 10-second penalty.
Yeah.
Oh, nobody talked to him after the race.
One man that's really going to gain out of all of this is Mr. Abadash.
He is. No penalties to his name. Down in 9th. Drivers ahead of him like Era Voice, Fanning, who are going to take a penalty. He's, let's just take you through that penalty situation whilst we're on the safety car. So DRS Neil with 3, DRS Julian with 10, CL with 3, RFC Danny with 3, B17 with 5, Booty with 3, and Scottish Ninja with 6. There's an awful lot of places to be made up if you finish just behind those people. I think it might be decided in the steward's room, this one. It might be like Austria. You have a penalty, you have a penalty, you have an extra 5-second penalty. As people start jumping up and down. I wonder though, lap 23, is this going to be one of these situations where the game is going to screw those people right at the back? People like Night Shadow, people like Arcana. It's not been a great night for the Mercedes drivers. I think the safety car is going to go early and without a few of them.
Yeah, that is sure. It's... Well, if you think about it right now, obviously Neil should stay clear of Avanash. But Avanash will find himself, without the penalties, in a net P3.
That's an incredible race.
P4, depending on if Neil manages to pull the gap. So, obviously that is without all the... But don't forget, these guys that have the 5-second pins removed may have 1, maybe 2 pins removed, so...
Nice. Really make much difference. As we thought, safety car in this lap, so we will go on board with DRS Neil and see when he's going to go.
That might be the most pointless safety car ever, by the way. I just want to add.
It did feel frustratingly pointless, but it might be enough for people like Deke Matthew, like Sigo Sambal, just to catch up to the back. DRS Neil sets the pace, going nice and slowly. He's waiting for that safety car to go in, because then that gives him all the permission he needs. He's playing it on the loud pedal. Is he going to go now? Yes, he is. Look at that. Suddenly a huge spike there on the screen. And he seems to have caught Era Voice napping, but he's really caught Fanning napping as well.
The important thing is he's caught Fanning napping. That is the most important bit about it, because that means Melvin, but Melvin's made the move, so actually Melvin's been unleashed onto the back of these guys now.
It has. Melvin up into P3, Fanning down to P4, Ghost Rider up into P9. Oh, he's up in the wall. That's terrible for him.
He just lost traction. There was no contact. I definitely saw that. So he just lost traction and went into the wall.
Such a shame. It can be done so easily on that tier 2, particularly on turn 2, when you're thinking about getting your getting on the loud pedal as quickly as possible. Just a bit too enthusiastic there. He finds himself in the wall and out of the race. Melvin then in P4 behind Fanning. They made the move, so he must have made a slight error there through the first sector to lose that place. Maybe the big thing here.
I'll tell you something. Neil's got about a 2.2 second gap to Melbourne at the minute. He just needs it to rise to 3 seconds. He needs Fanning to absolutely defend for his life. Melbourne is burning that ERS down the straight to try and get anywhere near Fanning. Fanning is super duper defensive.
Look who's come and joined the party.
Joined the party.
Oh, goodness me. That was racy through there. You can't really go 2 cars wide. And that's brought the other Red Bull back into it, but Melvin will be fuming there about that move. So racy from the Alfa Romeo man who just wants to make up the points. Look at that!
The inside, what a move!
So quick, is there going to be space on the outside? There is just about race. Lap 24, we're going to head into the last lap now, and I've got the lap from the leader there, DRS Julian. He's got a gap of 3.9 seconds to the man in 3rd place. To Melvin, it's going to be a gap of over as Melvin gets into the gap of 4.7. So Melvin doesn't find 1 seconds this lap. It's going to be the Hassman who'll take the race win.
STS is now looking at Julian a little bit into 3, but they've both got through unscathed. But this has just played humongously into Neil's hands.
It has. Look at that gap up there. It's still 4 seconds, up to 5 now. I don't think that there is going to be anything that's going to stop him from taking this win on track.
debut as well. What an impressive drive that is, and a way to keep your head.
Yeah, as we talked about earlier on, this race sometimes is about skill, it's also about survival. And he's somebody who's consistently been able to keep his nose clean, make his way through the chaos, and he only has to keep it clean for another few corners, and will take his net race win, and he'll do it on merit as well. But Era Voice will want to say, hey ho, no, remember, I'm here, I won on Monday. He's got one more chance here. Can he take it to the last corner? How much ERS has he got to try and make it competitive? It's going to have to be a big move, but that time is coming down, 0.5 seconds, 0.4. He's lining it up, but I simply don't think he's going to have the space to do it. No, he isn't. So DRS Neil is going to come round that final corner, and as long as he keeps it out of the wall...
Oh, Avinash is in the wall!
Avinash in the wall right at the end. That's such a shame.
But done it, come together.
DRS across the line. It's down into second place. Era Boys takes first on track. I'm going to let these boys filter through. Look at how close the field is at the end. Avinash comes across the front line with no front wing.
Sorry for interrupting your ending there, but it was almost Hamilton Verstappen 2021 down that back straight. Oh my goodness.
Awful lot going on. Driver of the day, Night Shadow, the game gives it to. Do you agree with that? I think there were a couple more there. None other than the person who is in second place, who started way back in the grid on his debut. That's what I'm going to give my driver of the day to. DRS Julian, would you agree?
Do you mean Neil?
DRS Neil, that's who I mean. Thank you very much.
I was going to say.
There's too many people with DRS in their name. I apologise.
Yeah, Neil, yes, definitely.
Neil,
he lost it on track, but he has taken the Tier 3 win. Let's say provisionally.
Provisionally, yeah.
I think it would be harsh to take it away from him at this point. Melbourne, as well, phenomenal. Bear in mind that he got really held up. But yeah, I think Neil's definitely the man that takes it for me anyway.
It is.
But some great drives. Can I just point out as well, bear in mind, Geke was hardly on the pack on that restart, and Geke's come home and scored points.
That is incredible. It shows that you always got a chance in this game. You don't want to. It's never over till it's over. But let's take you through these final standings as they go. Remember, these are all provisional, and some drivers will drop down due to their higher tier standings. So it's Era Voice, our race winner from Monday in Tier 2. He takes the race win again tonight in P1. Then it's DRS Neil in the Haas, who is in second, Melvin third, Fanning fourth, CSD in the other Red Bull in fifth, Avinash sixth, Donny in seventh, Arcana eighth, Geke in ninth, and the last point scoring position goes to Night Shadow, but he will drop being a Tier 2 driver, so he might lose that fastest lap point as well. CBR Sambal in 11th, Boothie 12th, DRS Julian in 13th, RFC Danny 14th, Scottish Ninja 15th, B17 16th, Ghost Rider 17th, and then back Mazo in 18th, and unfortunately Scratch Charisma and Mutts Nuts did not finish. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, Connor. It's been a pleasure as always.
Yeah, it was phenomenal as well. Great race.
It is a lot to look forward to there. And if you're watching at home, remember we're going to do it all over again in about 25 minutes' time. Tier 4 will also be coming at you live from Jeddah, so don't miss it. All right, that's enough from me. See you later, guys. Bye.
See you later. Bye.